Hey everybody, how's it going? Stabman coming back at you, and before anybody asks, yes, that is a fan in the background. It is hot, and I am not turning it off for anybody. I know some of you are going to be really annoyed with it, and you can just go ahead and turn off the video if you want to. I apologize, but I'm just not going to sit here and sweat my balls off just for the sake of this video. I know. Totally unprofessional, this non-professional YouTube guy. I mean, come on now. So anyways, today I'm going to be doing a Blu-ray update as usual. I know I do a lot of these Blu-ray updates. I haven't had a whole lot of them lately because, well, I've been saving most of my money, quite frankly, trying not to spend too much of it. But I actually had an idea recently for a series of videos I could do called What I Watched This Week. I thought maybe people would be interested in that, in you know, hearing my thoughts about whatever TV shows or movies or whatever I was watching during the week. And there are times, honestly, when I don't even watch anything, so it wouldn't be something that you could expect every single week or anything, but you know, it's something that I felt like I might be able to do, that I might want to do, that could be interesting for this channel. But anyways, I just wanted to put that out there and ask you guys, actually, if it's something that sounds like something you might be interested in. So with that out of the way, let's get on to the Blu-rays here. The first two that I picked up here were from Kino Lorber. They recently had a sale. I actually have a few more Kino Lorber titles coming in because this is from a past sale, and there's another sale that I took advantage of even more recently that they did, and I have titles coming in from that now. So I figured it's probably time for me to talk about these, and the first one that I got here was Pink Panther, Blake Edwards, the Pink Panther Cartoon Collection Volume 1 on Blu-ray. They have like the whole Pink Panther collection on DVD. I don't know if you guys remember, I got that big box of DVDs from Mercari. Most of them were scratched to hell and back, but one of them was Pink Panther Christmas, and it had like one disc of the huge, ridiculously large set of Pink Panther cartoons that came out quite a while back. I can't remember if that was Shout Factory or not, but I do remember that that was a pretty nice one. I've seen that one in a pawn shop, actually, and it was like going for $50, $60, something like that. It's like, well, it's fairly priced, but I'm not going to pay that much for it. Well, one of the reasons I didn't really want to pay that much for it is, hey, they got these Pink Panther cartoons coming out on Blu-ray now, so why would you want to get the DVD set when you can get it on Blu-ray? And these are the kind of cartoons that were put onto film, so you can pretty much rely on the fact that they're probably going to look pretty goddamn good when put on to Blu-ray, when put on into a high definition format. It's not like The Simpsons, for instance, where The Simpsons was developed almost entirely for broadcast, right? So because it was developed for broadcast, those were the only masters that really existed, so it's never really going to look much better than it already did to begin with. So, like, it doesn't actually make any sense to buy the earlier seasons on Blu-ray because they really actually do not look much better. You're going to get pretty much the same experience out of those as you do, or with the DVDs, as you do with the Blu-rays. Why pay more for the Blu-rays? Why get the Blu-rays to begin with? DVDs are just fine. So that's my reasoning on The Simpsons, but my reasoning on the Pink Panther here is these were put on film. And as most of you, I'm assuming, know, anything put on film, whenever it is converted to, or digitized, converted to a digital format, tends to look pretty goddamn good. Better than it did on broadcast formats. So yeah, I'm very excited. I haven't actually checked this one out, but very excited to see how good these look, because I'm sure they'll look freaking fantastic. And yeah, only one way to get them is from Kino Lorber. I believe they only have the first and second volume out right now. The first volume here is 1964 to 1966. I don't remember what the second volume is, but like what years it was, but that one's still fairly new, and because of that, it's not. I haven't seen it go on sale. Still commanding a pretty high price tag, but quite frankly, when it does go on sale, I might pick it up just so I can have the second volume then in my collection. So yeah, very cool stuff. I wouldn't say I'm like the biggest fan of the Pink Panther, but it's something that I do remember watching when I was a kid, and I did enjoy. So, you know, nostalgia definitely played a factor in this one. I'm very happy with this one. So anyways, that was one of two things that I got from this recent Kino Lorber sale. The other one was Death Rides a Horse. I know, completely different from the Pink Panther, right? Well, if you guys don't know what this one is, this is actually, there's a print of it at least in the public domain. And that's why it's on these Western sets from like Mill Creek and other labels that tend to produce a lot of stuff that has like a bunch of public domain movies on it. So, you know, that's one way you can watch it, but it's not going to be the best possible quality. The best possible quality is right here. And if you're wondering why I'd be interested in watching it in the best possible quality, not only is it a really fantastic Western, not only is it a classic Western, but it was also the influence for like things like Kill Bill, and I believe it was just Kill Bill, but it might have also influenced some of the other work from Quentin Tarantino. Whatever the case, there's a lot of influence in this film, and because of that, I had a really strong attraction to it. I didn't even actually know about it until my good friend Aaron Isaac, Sean, told me about it, and when he told me about it, I was like, oh wow, and then I watched it off of one of my Mill Creek sets. I think I watched stuff on Mill Creek set. I might have actually just downloaded it from archive.org, but whatever the case may be, I watched it and I really enjoyed it, and ever since I've been like, I'm going to get the DVD at some point just because I want to have it on a physical format. But the DVD was usually pretty expensive. The nice DVD, as it were, was usually pretty expensive. And then this came out. The Blu-ray finally came out. I never actually expected them to do a Blu-ray of this movie, but here it is. Death Rides a Horse. It actually has audio commentary from the filmmaker and the original theatrical trailer, so that's pretty cool. Not a whole lot of special features on this one, but still very nice indeed. I think it came to either $9 or $10 on sale. Pink Panther was another one that was like $9 or $10. I don't know exactly what the prices on these were. All I know for sure is that they were pretty damn good price, because usually Kino Lorber and titles from specialty labels like this are not very good, not very well priced, right? So you got to take advantage of those sales whenever you can. Speaking of taking advantage of a sale, I've been trying to get this for a halfway decent price for a long time now. I got it for a friend of mine before I actually got it for myself here finally. I got it for a friend of mine a few years ago when it went down to like $12 during a Black Friday sale. But I never actually bit the bullet on that myself, and I had been like wishing I had ever since, because it's such a good movie, and I don't believe it's actually on Netflix anymore. That's where we originally watched it on. I think we watched it on Netflix, and it was just one of the best documentaries I've ever seen, one of the most interesting documentaries I've ever seen as somebody who loves film. So I picked up Jodorowsky's Dune here. Finally having this in my collection is just a blast. So freaking cool. If you haven't actually seen this movie, this is a documentary, and it's fantastic because it lays out the original plans for like the original Dune movie that was going to be made, and like they were going to spend a whole lot of money on this, and they were going to get all these people attached to the movie that were just like, it was just insane, the kind of people who were attached to this. I mean, they even got the artist Salvador Dali. They were going to get like a well-known artist who he is now praised as one of the great artists of the last few hundred years. You know what I mean? Like, he's a really well-known, really well-respected artist. And they were going to get him to actually play a role in this movie. They were going to get music from Pink Floyd. They were going to have Orson Welles in this movie. Mick Jagger was apparently going to play like a lead role. It was just insane, the things that they were planning for this movie. I mean, I was just so blown away by, like, yes, watching somebody just blow up their budget beyond belief and just knowing what's going to happen next, because there's no way a film with that budget actually gets made. Just seeing the vision that they had and how they didn't stop themselves, you know what I mean? Like, as much as it's like, you gotta rein yourself in. You gotta make sure that you don't go so far that it's impossible to actually make the movie. But at the same time, there is something to be said with letting your imagination go as wild as it can possibly go, and going as far as you possibly can to make the product and the project that you actually want to see, and going beyond even what is realistic and really possible, right? And yeah, they took that chance and it didn't work out, but part of me is still glad that they took the chance, because, I mean, as the movie lays out, there are a lot of things that came from this movie that never actually happened, that ended up having a positive result on other movies, and like that you may have heard of, like, oh, I don't know, Star Wars? I mean, this movie that never actually happened became actually quite influential to a lot of other filmmakers, a lot of other artists out there. So just like the whole concept of not giving up on your vision no matter what, of trying to make the impossible happen and not giving a crap about anything that gets in your way. It's just a really powerful, positive message. And granted, it's not necessarily a realistic message, but the art that we got as a result, what we actually got from it as a result, the stories, the imagery, the fact that they actually got, like, Salvador Dali to agree to do this film, even though it never happened. I mean, that's pretty impressive in and of itself, you know what I mean? It's just an incredible movie, or an incredible documentary, I should say. And I highly recommend it for anybody. I found a really good deal, and it was like $9 or something like that, so very glad to have gotten that deal. Such a good deal. Finally got this in my collection. And that was off of Mercari, or actually I don't think that was Amazon. Yeah, that was Amazon, but off of Mercari, for about the same price, I got Enter the Void. This is another really great movie that I recommend to pretty much anybody. I just have to say, it is very disturbing. It is one of those things that, like, if you're currently depressed, or if you have, I have an anxiety disorder, and it's tough for me, right? But if you have any kind of mental disorder or something like that, that might make you, like, spiral out of control, and I know exactly what it actually means to do that, because I have that problem frequently, right? If you have any fear whatsoever of death that causes you, or has in the past caused you, to spiral out of control with anxiety or like a panic attack, do not watch this movie. Or if you are going to watch it, make sure you're in a really good mood and make sure you're prepared to go down that tunnel, you know what I mean? Because that's where this movie goes. It's a movie about, like, it's basically the director, the filmmakers attempt to understand what they feel is maybe what happens. It's their vision of what happens when you pass on. So it's a really cool movie, and it's just incredible the way it's done. I think it might be on Netflix still, but I don't know. Whatever the case, I'm very glad to have gotten this. It's such a good deal, and it's something that I definitely needed to have in my collection, even though it's not necessarily something that you're going to watch a whole lot of because of its, you know, deep and kind of disturbing imagery. It's still a movie that I'm going to want to watch every now and then, because it's one of those deep message movies that sometimes I want to think, and this is a movie that makes you think. Next up here, I finally got the price that I wanted on this one. This is a movie that I was planning to get for quite some time. I just never got around to it, and that was James and the Giant Peach. Of course, this is one of those I know a lot of people don't like this kind of animation, but I actually do like stop motion animation. I think that's what it's called, right? But whatever the case is, whatever it's called, this is a movie that I actually enjoyed quite a bit when I was growing up, and, well, when I was a teenager. It's about the time when it came out, right? It's one that I wanted in my collection. I didn't think it was necessarily the best movie ever, but I enjoyed it enough that I wanted it. I just didn't want to pay a whole lot of money for it, because again, it's not necessarily one of my favorite movies. It's just a movie that I enjoyed and would like to watch again. And Disney, being the way they are, you know, they're going to charge you a lot of money no matter what. So this one just never really dropped in price, at least not in my neck of the woods. So I had to wait and wait and wait, and finally on Amazon it went down to under $9. So I went ahead and picked this up for less than $9. I think it came to like $8.70 something, and that was a pretty good price for it. That's a price I'm willing to pay, quite frankly. This is the special edition, but I think the special edition actually might have less content than the regular version that they had, because this appears to have one bonus: Spike the Ants interactive game. That's it. Like, there's not any other special features. That's it. Okay, at least I have James and the Giant Peach on Blu-ray. But again, like, where's the special features, Disney? I mean, this is a movie, like, the animation process alone is something you go into great detail and depth about, and there's nothing. I'm sure there was on the DVD. I'm even sure there might have been on one of the Blu-rays, but definitely not this release. So whatever the heck the case was there, I'm still glad that I have this, but a little disappointed in the lack of special features. I gotta be honest. But I also gotta be honest, I got a good deal on it. I can't complain that much. I especially can't complain because I got this one from Disney for free. I took advantage of my Disney Movie Rewards, and I used those points to get National Treasure absolutely free. This movie is maybe not the best movie ever, but it reminds me of stuff like Indiana Jones, and I don't necessarily hate Nicolas Cage. I think he's a pretty damn good actor. In fact, there's that new movie Mandy coming out. If you haven't heard of Mandy, holy crap, drop everything and go watch the trailer for Mandy. It is a horror movie starring Nicolas Cage, and it looks phenomenal. I cannot wait to see that one. It's going to be so good. I have a good feeling about it. So the reason I got National Treasure, and the fact that it's a fun movie to watch, is because I got National Treasure 2 for $1 during one of those half-price books bag sales back in the day, last year. So because I got such a good deal on that, I was like not willing to let it go. It was like $1 for this. That's like a Disney title. It's almost never that price. You'll never see that price again. So I was like, I have to get it. And I did. I got the National Treasure 2 Blu-ray for $1, and then for essentially free, I paid shipping, so it was like $3 and $3.50. So for under $5, then I got National Treasure 1 and 2 both. So that's a pretty good deal if you ask me. Very happy with that. Pretty cool stuff. Last but not least today, for Blu-rays that I picked up recently. This one actually came from Target. It was 30% off of $15, so it was $10.50. It's 30% off through the Target Cartwheel app that I used. So I ended up getting a pretty good discount on this. Not a huge discount, but good enough that it made it worth it, especially considering that it came with $7 movie cash. So like $10.50 minus $7 movie cash. How much did you actually pay for it? I mean, what is that? $3.50? That's a pretty good deal to pay for the Rush Hour trilogy. This one from, I think this is a Mondo release. The artwork at least is from Mondo, I think. And yeah, it's Brett Ratner. Yes, it's the Rush Hour movies, and they're cheesy and they're corny and they're not necessarily great, but they're fun. At least the first two are pretty damn fun. I have never actually seen the third movie because I kept hearing how terrible it was. But I've always wanted to see it because even if it's terrible, I still like the first two and still want to see the third one, you know what I mean? So similar reasons, I'm eventually going to check out Taken 3, even though I've actually seen some scenes from that one, and I can tell you, it's not good. But in this case, again, I paid, what, $3.50 total? Like, if you want to be a stickler about it and say movie cash doesn't count, then I paid $10.50 for all 3 movies. $10.50 for 3 movies? What is that? That's about $3.50 per title, right? Like, that's not too bad. If you want to say, like, well, then you paid $3.50 for one of the worst movies ever made, Rush Hour 3, then I think you could also say that I just paid about $5, maybe a little over $5 each for Rush Hour 1 and 2, and have it in this snazzy set here. Not to mention, there is actually a bonus disc here. It's kind of like the Hangover Trilogy set, where there's like a bonus disc on that one that's its own full feature-length documentary about the making of the Hangover movies. This one, I don't think it's like a full feature-length documentary, but it is an entire, like, special features disc. See? See that? See? So, that's pretty awesome. I honestly have not figured out exactly what's on that disc yet, but to have an entire disc just full of special features is usually a pretty good sign. So, pretty happy with that pickup. A pretty good deal. And hey, yeah, it came in a nice snazzy case here. Nice set. So, I can't complain. I got a really good deal, if you ask me. Even if they are cheesy, not necessarily great movies, some of them at least are ones that I'll want to watch again, so worth it to me. Anyways, that'll do it for me today. Thanks for watching, you guys. Catch you later. Peace.